Hi, welcome to the Simply Slay Life podcast. I'm Rochelle, and this channel is a inspirational and captivating platform for Black women who are looking to have for their full potential and to lead extraordinary lives. Now, normally I'm on here talking about, positivity, Black women starting their own businesses, traveling, things like that you've always thought about doing, but you're not too sure if you're ready to go down that route, either starting your own business or, traveling international or moving abroad or whatever makes your day. But leading up to the election, I made a video and it was talking about being prepared because people were going to act a fool. Now, I'm going to continue on that because in my last video, I said that I would come back and talk about microaggressions, how to recognize them, and what you should do. So this is this video. Let me first preference myself by saying what I do is I am a workplace investigator. That is, I handle Title VI and Title VII of the Civil Rights Act. I also do Title IX for the Education Act. And I've been doing this, I've been in this field for well over 10 years, 15 years in total doing human resources and things like that. So that is the type of company I own. I also do background checks and stuff. So I said I was going to do this because, just so that we are aware, like some of us are aware and some of it is blatant. But the thing with microaggressions, they won't never really attach a gender to it or a color to it, like a race thing. So sometimes it makes it difficult for you to recognize it a little bit. But for some of us, we know it when it happens. And then some of us, it takes a minute when that person walks away to be like, did they say what I think they said? Or did they mean what I think they mean? And most cases with microaggressions, it's very difficult to prove because it's not related to gender, sex, race. They haven't tagged it. They didn't personally say, because you're this color, this, or because you're a woman, that, right? They make it very, what's the word I'm looking? They make it very nonchalant, like when they're talking about it. It doesn't have a true description to it. But in your being, I think that was a slight. And I think that has something to do with, this, and this, right? So, for example, we've all heard the version of, oh, you speak so well. You speak so well. You speak really educated. And you're like, at first you're like, oh, and then you're like, hey, right? Or you've heard, I call this one a macroaggression. And it happened to a very famous basketball player a couple of years back. Just shut up and play ball, right? I call that a macroaggression, and which is done on a larger scale. A macroaggression also could be in the workplace when, say, for example, you have the same degree, the same certifications, and the same training as someone else, more years of experience or the same amount of experience, and y'all are both applying for a leadership role, be it supervisor, manager, trainer, executive, director, anything like that. And they choose that person. And the caveat to that is that you may have trained that person. And they can't give you a good, solid reason why they chose that person, right? That could be considered a macroaggression because it's done on a larger scale. It is done in a way that they have removed you from a major platform, right? But they did not relate it to race. They did not relate it to gender. They did not relate it to a disability or anything like that, where it's blatant, where they violated Title 6, Title 7, and in schools, it would be Title 9. Okay? So, because they might fix it where it's the same gender, it's the same person of around the same age, because a discriminatory act is if they put that person in that role and they're under 40 and you're over 40 and y'all all have the same qualifications, right? The exact same. Then that could be looked at as a discriminatory practice, right? So say if they pick you're a woman, they're a woman, y'all are both over the age of 40, and y'all all have the same credentials, and as a matter of fact, you trained that person, and there's not because some people can sit up there and say, well, she just interviewed well. That might be the case, but, it might not be. But that could be construed as a macroaggression. That may not always be the case, but it could be construed as that. So what we do is go in if they believe that there's something going on in their organization, is go in and do a independent investigation, right? And so I want to talk to you all about recognizing this and how to respond, right? And so that it doesn't come across as and I hate this word, but they're going to use it, you're aggressive, which is a microaggression, right? That's a word form. You're aggressive. You're being aggressive. And you're just asking a question, right? So that is one of them. That's an example of if you ask a question in a general setting and you're just trying to figure out, well, why is that done like that? Can you elaborate on it? And somebody, why are you being so aggressive about this? It just is what it is. It's just the way we do things. It's a microaggression. And you can always ask, how is that aggressive? Why is that aggressive? As simple as that. You don't need to raise your voice. You can just simply ask, can you explain to me why that's being aggressive? Can you explain to me why can't I ask a question about why that's being done? You put it back on them, right? And the other version is the whole you're not being a team player. Well, what's about me is not being a team player. Ask them to elaborate on that, right? Because some people say, you're not being a team player. Well, what's a team player? I do my job. I help my coworkers if they need something, but I'm not taking on their task. I get paid to do my task and I help out, and that's fine. But I can't toe the line if they're not doing their part, right? And that's a legitimate response in regards to I'm not picking up their slack and they're not doing their part. Have you had this conversation with them? Right? And I may tell you, people say don't say that. You can say it. You can ask. Don't just do it in a rude way, right? Because it looks bad on you in their eyes, right? But you can ask about, how am I not a team player? These are the things that I do. I can you please explain how can I be a team player then, right? So the next thing I'm going to say to you is, I know people say in HR isn't your friend. And technically, I tell anybody, nobody on your job is your friend, right? HR is there in regards to find out what's happening. Now, a true HR department is. These little companies that have a person there just to do the paperwork that's not really doing their part to make sure, that's a problem. But what I will say, they may be in violation because if you have employees of 15 and more, you have to protect Title 7, right? You have to protect Title 9. So People need to be aware of that, especially if you're dealing with some type of microaggression based on disability. Some people say believe it's the state of 50 or more, but there's other parts that come into play with that. And the reason I'm stressing like disabilities as a microaggression, we're going to also talk about the Pregnancy Act as a microaggression, because people have been known to say, well, why did you even apply if you're pregnant? It's a micro. They won't say pregnant because then that's a discriminatory act. But they'll say, well, why did you even apply if you knew you were going to be out? Right? So, you know, it's a play on certain words. So when this happens, you know, you have to be aware. The one thing I would tell you is make sure you know your company's policies. You can find them on the intranet. They were given to you with your employee handbook. You also want to make sure, and this is for schools too, because of course, you know, those emails and text messages went out to college students and on campuses and stuff, talking about women, your body, our choice. You're going to be picking cotton. Now, that's blatant racism. But something isn't going to be as open as that. And it can be done by doctors. It can be done by lawyers. It can be done by educators, right? It can be done by people of your same race and gender, right? So you want to make sure you're in the factor of, you know, your school's policies, your job's policies. It's on their intranet. It was given to you in the employee handbook. It was given to you in your packet when you went orientation for schools. You want to make sure that you know what the company's mission and value statement is, or the company or school's mission, values, and vision statement is. Because in most cases, it'll be in there something about to create a harmonious environment. That, you know, something along those lines. Where it's not harmonious, it's not harmonious when you're constantly coming in the door and somebody has something to say that's grating right on the edge, right? Well, you don't have harmony. You know, you're not going into a peaceful work environment or a peaceful education system, right? Other thing is, because people automatically go to race or it's harassment based on race, that's not always the case. It can be a hostile work environment. It can be a hostile school environment. So again, know your policies, because it could be, again, they're not saying anything directly, and believe me, EEOC will be like, well, there's something there, but it's not quite there yet because they haven't said the magic words. The magic words would be, you directed it directly toward race. The comment was made directly about a disability. The comment was made directly about your sex or your gender. The microaggression was made directly about, you know, LGBTQ plus. So it can be something there, but it's not quite there yet. That's the microaggression. So you may not be able to say it's this, but if it's creating a hostile environment for you, it's in the policy. It's in your handbook, right? It's in their mission, values, or vision statement. When you are responding to it, some companies want you to go up the chain of command. You report it to your supervisor, then you report it to the manager, then you report it to the... That's great. That's fine if that's their policy and that's the way they do it. Report it to the supervisor, document it. Make sure you have your dates and times. If you don't have your times, make sure you have your dates. Make sure you say who was present. Don't do the whole, well, I'm not really trying to get them involved. Well, let that person, that's that witness that saw it, say, I didn't see anything. You put whoever name down you need to put down. Okay? Then you turn around. If it happens again, well, I went this. So I'm going to add your supervisor, your manager, and HR to that email. Because now you have a paper trail, right? Because it's continuing. So you've included everybody you need to include, but you just brought HR into it too, right? And again, any company worth its salt will look into this for the simple fact that is based on their mission and values or vision statement. You want to look at the code of conduct. You want to look at what it says under the anti-harassment policy. You want to look at what it says in depth under that visions and missions and value statement. Because that's the meat, the bread, the butter, and the whole 4-course meal of that company. Right? We have to learn how to play at their game. Right? Now, I can't tell you what's going to happen 2 years down the line. Some stuff might get gutted. But for right now, those are your surefire ways to combat that. And you make sure you put down exactly what they said and what you said. But I am telling you, please keep it on the level where you're just asking. Well, why does that make that? What do you mean I talk professional? Was I not talking professional before? What's the difference? And just smile. I'm good for the smile. So, how is that talking professional? Was I not talking professional yesterday? Okay, thank you. Right? Because it's going to back them up a minute. Because they in their feels right now. They're very much like, we're leading this charge. We can say and do. Stop them in their tracks. But do it in a way that it doesn't make you look like you did something. Because everybody has a right to ask a question. It's just about how you ask the question, right? So, and you document. You document. This was said to me on this day. I reported it to this person. Because let me tell you, like I said at the beginning, some people feel like HR isn't your friend. I tell you, anybody in the company, not your friend. They're there to make sure if it's either you or somebody in that company that is creating discord to that organization, they take action, right? Now, as far as supervisors and managers go, this is the problem. Some people just want babysitters. So they're not training their people right to recognize stuff, right? They're getting paid, but they're not managing nothing. They're not leading anything. So that's where they don't know how to stop it, right? They don't know, oh, is that really what that is? I don't think it was anything. Those things come out of their mouths, right? So that's why I say, I reported this too. This is what took place. This is what happened. And now I'm at this next step because it's continuing. So that is how you respond to it. You ask the question, and I asked them, how was this considered? I talk so professional. I asked them to clarify that for me, right? Or I asked them, what does that mean? Shut up and dribble, right? Because I don't have to be a basketball player to dribble. You can dribble. You know what I'm saying? I just asked for clarification. Make sure and that your kids and your school's policies. There should be a compliance officer at your kid's school to cover Title IX of the Education Act. And when I say that, I mean on colleges and university campuses, right? And so there should be somebody there to cover that. That has to look into that. Make sure you know what makes them aware of that, right? Make sure they are aware of some catchphrases or common words that may trigger that conversation of, what did that mean when they said that, right? Get them in a situation where they know how to be aware. I hope this is helpful to somebody. I hope that this is something that you know that going forward, that's in your best interest. Document, read your policies, read their vision and mission, and value statement and things like that. Code of conduct, anti-harassment policy. Those are the things you always want to look at, because they may not be based on these things directly because they didn't clarify it, but it may fall in line in this one. And when it happens, yes, I did ask them this and I told them, you know, that may not be the appropriate word to say, because when it falls under those other guidelines, you have to announce it at least once that I didn't like that comment. And again, I thank you for that, but I don't like that. You probably didn't mean nothing by it, but that's okay. I appreciate that anyway, but you didn't have to say that and walk away, right? Because then you've put them on notice, and it just has to be said one time. If it continues, then that is becoming harassment. So again, I hope this was helpful to you. I hope that everybody enjoys this content. And before I forget, I want to make y'all aware, in my last video, and I came back to correct it because it was in the comment section. I said I sometimes watch a lady and I called her podcast, her channel, Tabitha Talks Politics. And I apologize for that. It's called Tabitha Speaks Politics. So I appreciate that. And I didn't mean any harm. I just couldn't remember the name of her channel. So thank y'all very much. And again, some people in the comment section might be like, why are you even talking this? You bring about what you know. This is our reality right now. And I'd rather make people aware and let them know what their protections are and what rights are entitled to you, than people thinking, what can I do? Am I going to have to, you know what I'm saying? So I'd rather be on that level of, let me make sure that we know there are things in place currently that are to protect us, just in general. So y'all have a great day. And at the end of the day, this is all helping you simply slay your best life. Okay? So have a good day, everybody. Thank y'all for watching the Simply Slay Life podcast. Right now, I'm posting like every 2 weeks and stuff because the weekly grind is a little bit too much. But I hope this is helpful to y'all. If y'all want me to talk about something, leave it in my comments. If you think it could be helpful to y'all. Like I said, I got over 15 years in HR, over a decade, a little over 10 years doing these type of workplace investigations. I have a company that does them. So good luck to everybody. Y'all have a great day. Thank you again for watching the Simply Slay Life podcast. Bye.